Welcome back, guys, to more LCK. We're taking a look at the highlights from game number 1. Just a couple of people getting caught out, but then a very, very explosive late game at around 50 minutes, Papa.
The action is always inevitable. The game will not end bloodless. No 0-0 games in the LCK, but there were, of course, those long patches where, apart from these few picks onto the KING-ZONE members trying to clear around Baron, the big irony of all of it was that moving the battlefield away from Baron to the Elder Dragon ended up being the ticket to victory for the side of KING-ZONE, who got the little damage onto effort, pushed up some vision. This was all when things were looking good for SK Telecom T1, when they were in basically full control of the map, aside from Prey sacrificing himself for a kill onto Bang. Malzahar having to ult him was probably a little feather in the cap for Prey after that one. But we changed the battlefield. Again, still early. This is still early in the game. It looks like this is the Elder Dragon fight. This is when things got a little bit better for KING-ZONE.
That's when they got caught.
Yep.
The replay we never really got to see. And you can see the Realm Warp out of here. Only Prey doesn't make it in, but they get the Elder Drake, which was really the big engagement that they wanted. Yeah, from there, took down Blank's health bar. He backed away. They were assertive around the Baron. Good late-game shot goals from the side of KING-ZONE in the ultra-late game that has now become the regular late game. The length of games we're playing here. Some nice little mechanics here. Prey darting around, helping with the assassination onto FLICKR. Only Thal to protect the base. It wasn't going to work, and KING-ZONE win game 1. And the MVP is going to be Gorilla on the Braum. There were a bunch of people that we were expecting could be the MVP. You know, Gorilla being one of them. Maybe Prey on his Ezreal had a pretty fantastic game. And the top said, did you see in front of Elder Drake? So there was one fight in front of Elder Drake where he must have done a really good job. I
mean, at the end of the day, Gorilla, super reliable support. Finds it hard to take votes away with so many stars on his team. The exact role of a support sometimes can just be overlooked, but he had a great game here and moves up to 3,043 assists in his history in the LCK. #1 in assists. Of course, has had the very long tenure, has been around since end of 2013, I believe. Certainly was a starter by 2014. And everyone remembers Ku Tigers onwards, so congratulations to Gorilla, one of our longest standing players here in Korea. 3,043 career assists.
Says Gorilla Hoiting, and then King Heart Zone. So lots of fans. As I said before, there's not an empty seat in this house. You guys can see all of the filled seats around this person. And let's take a look at a substitution. For some reason, I couldn't think of that word. But yes, Cuzz is going to come in instead of Peanut. He had a very explosive after 50-minute game on the Kha'Zix, but we were talking about how we think that Cuzz should work better with this lineup.
It definitely seems to look like that. He also, on paper, is, you know, this kind of more helping jungler to help strong solo lanes do their thing. But we need to see more evidence. He had a great game on his Kha'Zix 1 MVP, but that was with Khan solo winning top lane and also BDD winning mid lane. So it made him look even better than his own performance made. He had some nice roams. He was in the right part of the map at the right time. I'd like to see Cuzz in a more neutral game and see if he can swing it one way or the other without, say, you know, giving him the crown right now and saying that he should be the starting jungler for the team. I still think there is a lot to be understood when it comes to Cuzz and Peanut's role.
Yeah, and the thing about Cuzz is that, again, Peanut has had a lot of time to prove himself as a top-level jungler. There's a reason why he has so many fans and why every team wants him. And he did come to KING-ZONE DragonX because he's still a rookie. He was a rookie last year. Now this is like his second season. And I want to see how he does as he gets older, more experience, and just better at the pro level overall. Because who knows? I mean, this guy was so good in his first rookie season for a rookie. Could get even better in the future. So guys, let's go into pick and ban for game number 2.
Because we didn't see any graphics, you will see that SKT has retained Thal and Effort into the lineup. Also Blank, I guess we should say. So no visit of Wolf into the starting lineup here is going to be something to note. The bans do start, and SKT don't want to deal with the Jace any longer.
Yeah, they never want to deal with that. And similar bans on the side of KZ, at least with the Vladimir. This time we are not going to be seeing the Sejuani. Still no AD carries have been banned out here, and even a Kha'Zix ban by SKT.
Could be a last ban Kalista, just to really empower engage from the bot side, but no guarantees on that one. A Ryze first pick is looking very possible as well. Maybe you just ban away the Ryze and accept that Azir, Malzahar, these will have to be the mid laners that will be considered. Very difficult to choose from here, but SKT, the Ryze especially, such a big one for FLICKR, but they're not afraid of it. They're just going to ban away the Gangplank. Actually give us a new lease on life. When was the last time we saw Gnar and Gangplank both off the board? Vladimir also as a top laner. Top lane meta is going to be a bit different. You do see the flash onto the Nasus was banned in game 1. But the priority in Galio, week 1, almost none. Week 2, it is jumping up, and it's a first pick. That's pretty intense.
It's a whole new week, Papa Smithy. I know you're going to be here for every single one, so you can bring us through all the changes. Galio definitely going to be one of the new things here. They want to take it away from BDD. FLICKR always used to play it as well. It's just very high priority, as you were saying. Also, the Ezreal being hovered here by KING-ZONE.
Now you can lane basically anything into Galio. The only thing I've ever seen with kill pressure was the Malzahar, just the ability to just get an early Void Staff for the Andres and actually do some damage. Not going to kill the Galio, but at least have threat onto the Galio. So that was one of the favorites in the past, but for now, KING-ZONE will hold on to their mid lane pick. You can also just go scaling against a Galio. Think of something like the Veigar that we've seen already this season. You could just go for the Azir and try to kite him out in the early game and do big damage in the late game. So a lot of options available against a Galio, not really forced to go in different directions. Corki is another favorite when it comes to scaling against a Galio, as SKT say, well, we'd like more engage, maybe we'll have all of it.
Ooh. Maybe they're gonna take a little page out of, who was that team that did the crazy engage comp that one game? Was that Rox? Or?
That was Rox last year. We see the Zac measured over. Remember, it is Blank who has the Zac skin himself for SK Telecom T1. The Camille was flashed. I feel like KING-ZONE have been the most heads up about the mind game, showing picks that they're not going to select and then moving over to other priorities. But Thal will have the ability to just rush onto that Camille pick, and the Kalista I mentioned is taken, so we're getting some ultra comfort here for SKT.
Also very high tier picks in terms of the AD carries. Kalista versus the Ezreal, and another high tier pick right there, Azir, making its way through the draft this time around. It's the game saver, right? The one pick that can save you even when it's like 1v3 on the Nexus.
Nobody beats Azir at 70 minutes. Been one of the sub-stories of the LCK in 2018 so far. I want to pay a bit of lip service to the fact that Blank is our most noted jungle Camille player of the pro players here. He's played a lot of games on jungle Camille, around 40 to 50 in the past 2 weeks. So it is a flex pick for the side of SKT. KING-ZONE would do well to hold on to their top lane pick to the last. We have not seen jungle Camille in the LCK yet, but we know that it can be played. MLXG did play it for RNG over in the LPL, and it has been a popular pick. On the blue side, we do see a Jax ban. So Jax jungle has been winning a lot of games, mostly through the late game. We haven't seen the early ganking from the Jax jungle. And we do see the Jarvan ban, as KING-ZONE want to take away some of the first round junglers. Jarvan, Camille, and Galio would certainly be quite the initiation trio.
Yeah, it's just part of that wombo combo, get into the back line and get Galio into the back line as well. They want to take one piece away, the Jarvan a big piece, the Zac as well. And 2 jungle bans there in a row for SKT.
Now KING-ZONE seeing a team that is likely to be 5 initiators, given that whichever support they end up with can be thrown in with the Fate's Call. Let's see how they approach the draft here, because like you say, Wombo combo is almost assured by the first 3 picks, and Camille and Galio guarantee initiation. And they say, hey, if you want to fight in an AoE, why not run the Shyvana and have all the damage potentially there? But they disrupt, and it's not Nidalee from Peanut. It's actually Cuzz in the lineup, but he's another jungle Nidalee player. KING-ZONE had 2 options, Shyvana, and then basically opting into what should be guaranteed team fights from SKT, or the Nidalee, and opting into trying to poke around, trying to skirmish, and more difficult to comp to pick up, especially in the ultra late game. but it is going to be KING-ZONE trying to actually make the Nidalee work. I believe this is the competitive debut of Cuzz's Nidalee, despite it being his biggest solo queue pick the entire summer season.
Yeah, Nidalee, very hit or miss for me, I feel. You know, it seems to work with some poke comps. It works with the Ezreal. Gives you some nice sustain, even if you're getting poked down yourself. But overall, still waiting to see how effective it is, especially in those very late game scenarios. Tahm Kench, still left available, is going to be picked up by SKT.
Definitely not selecting the Nidalee for the late game, though. They're going to try to be proactive, deny us another epic game like we had in the previous one. Is what do you take into Camille has often been a question. One of the famous skill matchups is the double zones, the Hextech Ultimatum, but also the Grand Challenge healing field to guarantee a fight there. Fiora is going to be locked in. Khan was smiling about it. There was the overlay, there was the famous interview where he said, it's not about the Jace, it's about your fingers, play better. Fiora is in that kind of school of thought as well. She is another one of these skill matchups. She also has threat onto the Galio, even as the game goes on, with true damage. So Khan, it's always about Khan. It feels like with the side of KING-ZONE, he makes it all about him again.
I just love the fact that they're not saying, okay, let's go super late game. Let's mix it up a little bit, right? The Nidalee being thrown in. Thal, is running away. He's like, oh, I don't like this composition. I'm going to run away. Looks like he's probably going to the bathroom based on where I saw him run, but he's going to the faraway one. Yep.
Not a toilet issue, hopefully.
Yeah, we got the confirmation that it is a toilet issue. So he will be back in just a minute, guys.
These are cool comps here. The Nidalee is in one non sequitur from the side of KING-ZONE. It basically says, hey, you know those 70-minute fights, we're probably not going to be able to do much. Nidalee in the ultra late game is kind of a heal bot. Doesn't really provide too much more than that. The damage is going to be absorbed by Galio. It won't even go half the way through his W shield. So very much about the early game, getting the Fiora rolling. If Fiora's firing on all cylinders, if Azir's hitting his item timings, maybe it doesn't matter, because in those scenarios where we saw disengage, where we saw teams pull back, those are going to be scenarios where they're going to have someone walk up, tank the Baron, and they say, hey, if you want to take a fight to us, we still have a fed Azir and Fiora, and the Fiora split push will also be relevant for the side of KING-ZONE. No true tank, though. It is only the Braum.
I feel like once we hit 8.2, we're going to see a similar composition, but add in a Nunu instead of a Nidalee, right? With the buffs to Nunu, and if you combine that with Azir, it's just out of control.
I'm shaking my head already. Very preemptive head shake, but Nunu Azir is a combo I hope won't be fielded in the LCK. It holds unbelievable power.
If you're allowed to get that composition, might as well just like, okay, you guys won this game. Let's go into the next one. Next pick ban.
Good news. Thal is back.
Yeah, not too bad of a toilet issue, it seems. He's right back in his chair. The chair wanted to have a chance at playing League of Legends, but Thal says no.
This is not a chair stream. This is a League of Legends stream, Valdez.
Yeah. Khan looks so ready to go. Look at him with a smile on his face. If he wins this with like some sick Fiora play, no doubt he'll get the MVP as well with a pick like this. Either way, guys, the countdown has begun. Let's jump into game number 2, KING-ZONE versus SKT. Here we do go. Match 15, game number 2. Blank taking a little bit of poke damage. The power of Nidalee at level 1.
And the invade was on. When you pick the Nidalee, whether it's Peanut or Cuzz on the side of KING-ZONE, you expect there to be a lot of deep wards. If you know the enemy jungle pathing as a jungle like Rengar, whose ability to skirmish kind of purely depends on if he gets the drop. If he gets the drop, if he invades you, which is very unlikely, kind of need a power leash to do that, absolutely he can one rotate you and you have nowhere to escape to. If his only option is to jump from the brush onto someone who's already chunked him down, not going to be as useful in that scenario, and that's why Cuzz just wants to know where he's starting. He doesn't need to take away his first camp. It's the second, the third, the fourth. Those are the ones that will be contested.
Cuzz knows what he's doing on this pick. He's even got Khan with him here at the blue buff. Thinking about it, and they're going to start. Here comes the first spear, but you can see it's going to be a 2-on-2. Galio's going to get there first, but decides to back off. Looks like SKT should gain control of this, although Cuzz is not leaving just yet.
But let's talk about what was denied from this. Because they monopolized the blue side, you saw Thal and you saw Blank enter the jungle. And you say, okay, but no buff was taken, you know, no harm, no foul. What usually happens when we have a mid lane Galio on blue side is a super leash on the bot side on the Raptors. We saw it yesterday from our first blue side Galio. There's no super leash available to Blank. His jungling time is going to be slower, and they're returning for an invade anyway.
So the smite was used. Blank cannot smite, but he's going straight onto Cuzz. That's just what he wants. He's level 2. Cuzz is getting low. The bolas are going to miss. He's got nowhere to miss. He's running right straight into Thal. That should be first blood. Blank gonna pick that up. Very smart jungling. Getting onto the Nidalee, knowing she would still be there, and getting that level 2 to fight up against her.
But a big mistake coming through from Cuzz. Why would you go for the contest? You already denied there being a super leash, and there's no way to run. He was trying to juke left and right. Well, guess what? There's brush in both of them. Yeah. No way to get away from Blank. Really unfortunate stuff there from the side of the KING-ZONE jungler. He's put himself in a hole, and he's in a skirmish comp, in a snowball comp. His lanes need him to be battle warding the Rengar to stop Rengar being a factor, and now he's trying to get level 2 3 minutes into the game.
Yeah, we can already see the result, right? Khan, he's not as comfortable to get super aggressive. He needs to put down a ward. He needs to get some vision on the Rengar. Cuzz is going to pick up this blue. We'll see if he continues to invade.
I think he has to.
Oh boy, look at this. Oh man, FLICKR already being pushed out of lane. Does have the Unsealed Spellbook and the TP already. But yeah, the power of Azir against the Galio.
So again, consider that the super leash was denied here. That's why the level 1 plan, whoever put it together, was a masterstroke. Denying the super leash, denying Blank, getting free time. But by the time he flashes, he's like, wait, there is nowhere for me to go. There's no ability for Fiora at level 1 to influence this skirmish. It just ends up being an assist, so if anything, he gives gold over to the enemy laner there. So kind of a multitude of reasons why Cuzz had kind of won the jungle race a little bit from his counter jungling previous to the level 1 fight, but going for the blue, that was too much.
Khan already showing off a little bit up in the top lane.
Kleptomancy is his rune also, so every time we see any of his abilities in an auto, you know that he's going to be proccing that very happily. Q also, instant procs it, so just trying to get a bit of gold generation going. Khan's Fiora, always a delight. Right at the start of summer season, when we're still learning about Khan, in a loss to SKT, he had that very famous game where he turned around a 1v3 in the enemy jungle. They went on to lose it, but everyone was talking about Khan's Fiora, and he was known as a Fiora one-trick before he came back into the competitive scene in his recent days in solo queues. So very famous on this champion, but his win rate doesn't necessarily line up with the hype. His individual performance is great. KING-ZONE's ability to turn around and to translate his pressure into game victories, that part hasn't been as convincing.
Getting aggressive onto FLICKR, he's gonna blow his flash already. Remember that TP is still down. BDD once again wrecking FLICKR in the lane. It makes more sense in this matchup though.
Summoner Aerie taken for lane bullying, not going for anything else. FLICKR on the champion that he looked godly on at Worlds. FLICKR's Galio in some of those matches, 5 in a row against RNG in the semifinals. People said this was the reason they were winning, because of his ability to take over, losing top, losing bot, and roam everywhere. It's different runes now. The game has definitely changed, but no fun dealing with the Azir as the Galio early in the game before you have any magic resist to actually fight back.
Yeah, he's just gonna have to essentially hold his hand over the wounds until he can get some levels under him, get some resists, just abilities to sustain against all this. Thal gonna miss that, but we'll see. Well, was that even missed? Was it purposely missed to not get stunned?
Thanks around. We'll see that Krugs are down.
Okay, the level 6 is hit by both of these guys. Khan, he's gonna be stuck, gets stunned up. Here comes Blank. The Bola's gonna go onto him. Will they dive? Is the question. You'll notice that Blank just not confident enough to go for the dive just yet.
You also notice something even more important. Khan was not using his flash unless he absolutely had to. Holds onto it for the next gank. They turn onto a very early Drake, but they're taking a lot of damage. Ocean is very slow to clear.
That it is, but it's also fantastic early game where it will matter, where it will be hard to take early. There's a reason, and that sustain going to help out even more, especially in that top lane. You were talking about the skill matchup. That little bit of extra sustain for the Fiora will make this matchup a lot easier.
I mean, they're fighting so much that it might not actually be proccing too often because of all the skirmishing canceling. We got to look at the runes here. Nothing surprising in the inspiration tree. Very, very standard stuff that you see in basically every solo queue rune page. If you're going to be going for the Kleptomancy and then just going for the tough skin, thick skin, I forget which one it is, but the armor in the Resolve tree and Second Wind as well.
The TP, keeping those minions there. Not getting any extra damage on the turret, though. Taking another look here at mid. FLICKR still struggling just a little bit. Has another proc on his potion. Should be okay, but you'll notice that he is getting a bit behind on the CS.
It's moments like this, you know, one of the big frustrations of AD carry players is that a lot of their champion pool, you know, they add AD carries slowly, you know, once a year maybe, and also AD carries have been lost to other roles. Corki's a mid laner, Graves a jungler. One amusing thing from this game is I kind of put two and two together and realized that AD carries got to teleport in and go golden in the preseason, so Riot gave them something. You can't complain that much.
That's true.
You got new summoners, you got new items, you know. What's there to be upset about?
Well, they kind of forced him into this meta of playing super passively and buying Relic Shield every time.
I don't want to hear this back talk, Valdez. It's my birthday, okay?
I
nailed
really
that color
sense,
point.
Papa.
It was a great point, wasn't it? Come on, tell me. It was great.
It was good.
Thank you.
It was good.
Thank you.
It was a good birthday point.
Well, FLICKR's had absolutely no fun in the mid lane, but only to the tune of a 15 CS disadvantage, which isn't that awful, given that we've seen him chunked out 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah, hard lane, laning against Azir for pretty much anyone. Very good laning presence, as well as the late game potential you were talking about, as no one really defeats him after 70 minutes. It's part of the reason why he is top tier, if not god tier at this point. Very hard to play, though. We've noticed that some people do not play very well. Kuro being pretty hit or miss on the champion.
And we noticed that FLICKR has been taking on the chin this game in the damage dealt graphs. Wow. 3,400 damage to 200. He's done the least damage in the game because, well, the Qs aren't hitting, so, yep, he's having no fun at all.
Yeah. He has to Q to push the wave. BDD obviously wouldn't stand in the queue.
I feel like his expression right now is the same expression he had after the loss in game 1, just stone-faced.
Yeah.
Being like, yes, a game is happening.
We are playing League of Legends. So
I wish I could play.
Yeah. It's warded up here. Blank is going to clear that out, it looks like. Make it a little bit more scary for Fiora up in the top lane.
Big regen advantage for Khan. Ocean Drake, you also get health regen from the Tiamat. And the Equalizing Corrupting Potion. It's going to be, I believe, spotted here, Blank, so they're going to trade reds, as, again, FLICKR just would love to be above 50% HP once.
Just once in his life. Cuzz trying to make something happen in the bottom lane. His presence alone is going to push them off the turret, giving some substantial damage to that bottom turret, as you guys can see.
Mid lane turret will be necessarily chunked down, as Galio can only be there from time to time. Bot lane turret also taking a lot of pain. No real good news story in the lanes so far because of how mid lane has gone. BD has been able to play this lane so triumphantly so far. Nashal's tooth done 10 minutes into the game.
104 CS. Right on time there. Blank, he doesn't really have much else to do after taking the red buff, so he's going to get to work on the Rift Herald.
He can't gank really any of the lanes, you know. Yeah. He's tried to gank top side, but Khan wasn't forced out of a summoner. Mid lane's Azir and bot lane's Ezreal Braum. So good luck with both of those. So just like Ambition and his very passive ways, he's trying to take the Rift Herald. He's going to need help.
Okay, Blank. Please, man. I've had enough tension in these games.
We would need the live FLICKR cam if he died to the Rift Herald there.
Slams the desk and just walks out of the booth. He's like, I've had enough. I'm joining KING-ZONE. Not sure they would take him right now, as BDD is pretty stable in the lineup.
That's definitely the embarrassment of Rich's story. I think you have to, but you feel bad about it. Khan has the ability to see wards, but there's no wards in front of him, just Thal, who they've been brawling with. Thal has gone investment banker first. He does have half his way towards the Cull cash-in as Cuzz.
Okay, he's going to be flashing here, and look at this. Effort is right nearby. There's no escape for him.
Nope.
Can't jump over the wall in time, and Blank will get the kill. And they're not stopping there. They're coming behind Gorilla. Looks like a little bit, oh, okay, they're going to flash for it here. They want to get Gorilla. That's double flash. Or they're just the arcane shift from Prey, but at least they get the flash out of Gorilla.
I like it from SKT. They still have the hero's entrance. They're saying, okay, we can even outnumber you further. Big mistake from Cuzz again, reading the jungle. He's pouncing over, trying to get more on the bot side against a litany of wards. There's so many wards there. And yet he goes for the play alone without map pressure. This is why I wasn't quick to say that Cuzz on Longzhu will be better. Because you think back to the previous time he played, he was all over the enemy jungle, taking away camps. It was the right time. His lanes were winning. This time he's playing the same with his lanes in a much more equal position, especially on bot lane, where the lane wasn't in the right spot. Hard to be against double teleport bot lane. So he doesn't adjust his playstyle, and he gets punished.
Not looking quite as dominant without a, you know, a Jace that's underneath the enemy's turret and forcing the enemy jungle to not be in their own jungle.
Now, if he was just standing in the brush, throwing down spears and trying to take this turret, definitely excellent play. His top side.
Okay, Hextech ultimatum, but can he burst down Thal first? He's gonna push him away. He's going deep, he's gonna get it. The health regen is gonna come in, flashing away, and Blank should be able to get this, but what the hell? Khan gets away, and Blank goes golden.
It wasn't even close, Valdez. He still had his riposte and stopwatch available.
Unbelievable. Khan putting on a mastery show in the top lane. Saying to Thal, you should fix your fingers, buddy.
Every time I watch this man on my screen, I feel like I learned something new, that I see something new. Only he can redefine champions. I've seen hundreds of times. There's been plenty of Fiora over the years, but his economy of holding on to both the stopwatch and also the riposte is outrageous. We're going to watch the replay here. As he starts, uses the riposte the first time. It's going to be up by the end of this. Trust me, I was looking at the cooldown. He goes for the all-in. He's going around, flashes in, gets the auto attack. No, nothing for the hook to get onto here. There's so much minion tanking that Blank's like, I've got this, but uses his stopwatch. Khan gets away. Outrageous stuff from the Fiora.
Okay, well, we got the Fiora up top 1-0. Sitting pretty, has the Ravenous Hydra. Oh boy. This is
one of those days,
God,
huh?
Just one of those days for SKT. Not us. Those guys they gotta be frustrated. FLICKR, we know he gets frustrated at times, having trouble in his top lane. At least Blank was doing good. He's sitting at 2-0.
Got the Rift Herald as well. He's going to use it in the mid lane. This is when Azir had backed. I imagine it was about to time out. Looked not necessarily like it was going to min-max the turrets. Not really sure what to make of that one. Does get them lane pressure for a little bit. The Drake's not spawning for a little while, so I don't really get the Rift Herald there. He had some junk in his inventory, a Rift Herald and a stopwatch. He doesn't anymore, so less buttons to press now for the Rengar. Oh!
It's a lot of damage. Red buff 2 that they stole earlier on. Effort is nearby, but Blank nearly goes down.
Yeah, things are escalating really badly here for SK Telecom T1. The last 3 engagements on any part of the map have gone completely the way of KING-ZONE. BDD not going to be able to get autos on the turret, so credit to FLICKR despite his health bar woes. He has been able to keep his turret very healthy. For now, Prey and Gorilla are sticking in the bot side. They have no ability to freeze the wave because of Iceborne Gauntlet onto the Ezreal, but they can invade with their jungler. Trying to spare some of the woes for Cuzz, who's been the only person to fall on the side of KING-ZONE this game.
Oh, they're going on to FLICKR here. He's got some help. It's 4 members up against FLICKR and
Kench.
2 red buffs. Tahm Kench comes in and will save his life. But look at the pressure we're going to have in mid lane now. Double red buff and no way to get near any of these members. Should be the mid lane turret going down.
And it may not be the Nunu, but you can give attack speed as the Nidalee to the Azir in the mid game as well. Try to superpower him a bit. Maybe they've been duoing with the Azir Nunu, and they tried to find the closest approximation in the game right now. Is Thal is way behind in items, so should not be taking a true 1v1, and does just pull away. Looking at the jungle proximity here, so much time from Blank spent on the top side to both relieve pressure, to create some doubt in the mind of Khan, and, you know, he hoped, of course, to be fruitful into a gank. The gank didn't happen. When the gank did happen, Khan turned on the style under the enemy turret. All of that time wasted.
They're going. Here we go.
Who wins this, though?
Ultimate coming in. Can he 1v2 this time around? That's the real question. He wants the grand challenge here, but this time they've got Galio near. And that's going to be enough to take down Khan, or is it? He's still going. Always got to catch myself, but 1v3, not this time.
I mean, it's 1v4. There was actually Kalista walking up as well, trying to get involved. So that was a lot of bad guys. In the meantime, mid lane turret goes down. Azir's going to keep pushing. In fact, everyone's pushing. They were so tilted about the last attempt to kill that they really, really tunneled on killing that Fiora.
Certainly seems that way, giving a lot of map pressure and part of objectives as well. Even Nidalee coming down, they want to try to secure even more damage onto this turret.
Yeah, both inner turrets below 50% HP. KING-ZONE need to play brawler. They need to play aggressively because of the Nidalee. Nidalee has been well held in the game so far, and they're doing it. We found out a few days ago that KING-ZONE, when they get started, can do crazy things, as Thal's being smart here.
Oh boy. Prey is getting low, though. They will force his flash out. FLICKR is nearby, doesn't have that heroic entrance. Thal, he wants to go in. There's the flash, immediate exhaust, and they turn it around. Back onto Thal. He's forced to be devoured and pushed away.
Definitely a team that trusts each other. When KING-ZONE got the lead in game 2 of their last series, they blew away the enemy. They have it in terms of kills, but in every other variable, they are insanely far ahead of SK Telecom T1, who it almost feels like they need to stick the next gank or the next skirmish, because they've been oh so close multiple times. It hasn't been fruitful. A 3-0 Rengar, the only real good news story for SKT.
We'll see if Blank can be the carry this time around. He's certainly having a better game than Cuzz on this team. I was noticing FLICKR actually trying to clear the minions. He missed 2 of them when there was nobody nearby. I hope it's not a bit of frustration coming into effect, or maybe it's just been a while since he's been spamming the Galio.
I won't necessarily read too much into that, but I will into his item build. Rod of Ages, not the expected magic resist, so it does mean he's more susceptible to the BDD poke. He's trying to go for the team fight here. Rod of Ages into Morellonomicon. The AP heavy build that Lava showed for the Rocks Tigers is more popular in solo queue. Kuro still full tank. A lot of people full tankers. Bot lane.
They're trying to replicate it here, but this time he gets the stun onto Blank. The heroic entrance, though. Flash coming in, and a heal from Cuzz will get Khan out of the way. True Shot Barrage making its way through, but the engage not successful to kill Khan this time.
Now we can answer the question. How many people does it take to take down Fiora? It's 3. It's definitely not 2. The 1v2s are not working for the side of SKT, trying to outnumber the Fiora and just provide a bit of a distraction, but in that distraction, Cuzz walks over, he takes down the inner mid lane turret. Now it's a super long lane, much harder for Galio to actually be in position. They take away the enemy blue buff as well. The amount of map control they're losing trying to kill the damn Fiora is really losing them basically every advanced position they have on the map.
Yeah, it's the second time it's happened, and we'll see if SKT mixes that up. Maybe they'll just give up on trying to kill Khan. Let Thal essentially take a losing matchup and get pushed in a little bit just to get some more pressure elsewhere on the map.
To be clear, it is not a losing matchup from the start, but in this position where there is gold on him and a CS advantage, it gets harder and harder. It's a true skill matchup. Reminds me of some of the ones that Ari used to have in the mid lane way back when we would say skill matchup. That's why it's so exciting, because it's flashy. It's a flashy skill matchup. You know, something like Shen versus Maokai is also a skill matchup, but that's about your skill at teleporting, your skill at reading the map. This is the 1v1 skill matchup, and that's why it's more exciting, because it just bursts into life basically every time the camera moves over to Khan and Thal.
Yeah. Well, it seems like we've slowed down a little bit, but as I say that, Grand Challenge is used. Hextech Ultimatum, he's got Rengar nearby, but a perfect riposte right on the timing. Now we got another 1v1. Blank, you're not going to win that. He's got to run away. And already we're seeing what happens when you leave Fiora alone up against Thal.
And no ability for FLICKR to get there because he has other things to contend with, like an Azir, who's playing as if it's solo queue. He's pushing up. Yeah, I'll take a minion wave at your inner turret, whatever. No worries for him at all. Cuzz is able to take the pandemonium across the map, makes it perfect for Nidalee. This is how you dream of every Nidalee game going, because it's never a 5v5. There may never be one in the game.
They're trying to be proactive. They're trying to get picks and snowball it into something, but it's against an Azir. It's so hard to do that.
And every time they use 2 or 3, every time they try to wombo, well, they lost an objective top, they might lose an objective bot lane. This is the full court press team comp. This is the skirmish comp. We saw MVP try a Nidalee draft like this, not be able to pull it off. But when you have some of the most exquisitely talented players in the world on the same roster, Khan and BDD, you know, when it comes to mechanics, right up the top there, they can take skill matchups, they can take winning matchups in the mid side. They just make their headaches for SKT in every part of the map, and for SKT who just want Rengar to rush in as Galio ults, throwing in a Tahm Kench and then a Hextech ultimatum. They've just never been able to do that in this game.
All SKT wants for LCK is a turret right now. They're not going to be able to get one as they're denied, and even the Fate's Call being used to get effort into safety.
All SKT wants is for KING-ZONE to group up as 5 in mid lane and start poking next to an inhibitor. That's the part where they're like, let's wait for our chance. Let's engage 5v5. That is what KING-ZONE never want to do. They want a Baron. They want to push 3 lanes. They got kill pressure in the Fiora lane. Azir can push out the Galio. The pandemonium on the Rift is what KING-ZONE drafted for, and it's what they've caused, even if the kills do read SKT 3, KING-ZONE 2.
Let's take another look at this replay and how exactly Khan wins the 1v1.
Equal in levels, but Khan is up in items. Too much free damage by Thal. The ult goes down. By the time he uses the ultimatum, his life is over. He's always going to die. Blank may be 3-0, but it doesn't matter. You do not 1v1 a near full health Fiora. He runs away sheepishly. He's ulted now, though, but just scouting. Just trying to get much vision control as possible. The Baron buff going down is SKT's worst nightmare. The longer they can delay that, get us to the Fiesta 40 minutes, the better.
That's the dream. They're just trying to plug all the holes right now. We'll see if they can actually do it. Trying to get whatever vision they can around that Baron. You can see Blanks up there, but this time Effort is going to get caught. The ultimate coming out, and then Nidalee coming in too. Does have that flash, but the Fate's Call still down. Almost means the death of Effort.
They have to use so much just to keep him alive. Now Blank's caught.
He's alone. He was over there trying to ward the Baron, trying to come from behind. Did not work out.
And that right there is Effort's fault. He walked up with Fate's Call down, is turned upon, and then Blank just has to pay the price of his support being out of position with no ultimate. And remember that Baron that was the worst case scenario? It's the reality.
24 minutes and 27 seconds, and we're going to have our first Baron of the game here for KING-ZONE. They're not slowing down anytime soon. And we talked a lot about tension and, you know, inexperience. Perhaps the pressure right now is getting a little bit to Effort and some of these younger players because they're not handling it very well.
Why does it always look oh so much better with Cuzz? You have to say, is these second games, whether it's second games, will this happen if Cuzz starts a series?
Even when he feeds.
We don't know the answer. He's made some huge mistakes this game. You know, if it looked like a rookie mistake at level 1, this is a rookie mistake from Effort. He walks up and he's like, yep, Fate's Call. But remember, that was nerfed recently in a couple of patches ago, longer cooldown. They have to use Galio ult. Effort's gone, and then the poor Rengar, who's just trying to ward, is caught. I mean, unfortunately for him, you can't have that happen and then also be able to clear wards. So goodbye, Blank, paying the price for the sins of his new support. And now KING-ZONE have the Baron. And now that Fiora has a Baron buff to make those headaches come even quicker for Thal.
Yeah. You noticed he was trying to clear the control ward, but at that point he knew he was dead. I mean, there was nowhere for him to go, so he might as well try to take out the ward. It looked weird, but he had to do what he had to do at that point. He was already caught, had the Azir behind him and 3 members of KZ in front of him. So the full court press. It's going to come in after Khan gets red buff, no doubt.
Oh. Level 16, 2 levels up, a Warden's Mail, a Spectre's Cowl. Do you know what this build says to me?
What does it say, Papa?
What you got? Magic damage, physical damage. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Bring all the bad guys. If you send 4 here, he probably takes at least 1 with him.
You'd have to imagine at this point. He's got the red buff now too, so it's not like that guy can get away. The unlucky soul that he chooses most likely will be Thal.
And KING-ZONE weren't a good enough team to play this style when they were last playing Fiora, right at the start, the first round robin of summer season. They hadn't gotten everything together. But now that BDD has taken strides, now he really is more than just, I hold my thought, but more than just a Galio player. They have so many new styles and champions they can play, and they also have an inhibitor at 26 minutes.
Yep. Effort seemingly getting caught again in the front. He was right next to the base, but you can get caught anywhere at this point. They forced the Fate's call out, and they essentially just let their inhibitor melt. Everything is going down right now. Turret after inhibitor. KING-ZONE pushing the top lane. Thal finally takes a decent trade, but again, it's Fiora. We'll see how that's going in a couple minutes.
No real engage here unless Rengar goes in, but he's just stutter stepping. He knows he can't dive in. They will lose a 5v5, a 4v4. Anything at this point in the game, they haven't been able to cement the items. They are behind 14,000 gold.
It's 3-3, and they're 14,000 gold behind. The kills truly don't matter, guys. 8 turrets. Blank disappears! A spear into an Azir combo, and he just disappears off the map. This game might be the fastest game we've had. 1v1ing Thal is Khan, and they're going for the end.
End pre-30 minutes, unthinkable, Valdez.
What is going on? That's going to be the 2-0 as well. Combo onto everyone that SKT has. Even if Gorilla goes down, he doesn't even. It's going to be the ace and the sweep of SKT in a 2-0 victory. KZ are the champions today.
3 times in a row, 2 B of3s, and a best of 5. KING-ZONE and Longzhu have defeated SK Telecom, but never like this, Valdez. They dumpster SKT in game 2 of this series. Cuzz comes in, feeds a kill. It doesn't matter because this man on your screen is the god of Fiora, and KING-ZONE have made SKT look ordinary.
Khan right now, he is the face of PogChamp. You might as well just make that face because guaranteed Twitch chat was spamming that whenever we got a look at his Fiora. And no doubt we'll be seeing more Fiora, but as you said before, who can really pull it off like him? Cuzz going 0-2, feeding in the jungle, giving Blank and SKT a chance. They still stomp SKT.
KING-ZONE this week, 2-0 Africa, 2-0 SKT. And the SKT series, that game 2 was not close. The game 1 a nail-biter. SK Telecom should have taken it, but they couldn't have known it would be turned to this degree. Look at the members of SKT. Effort, he still knew. He knows that this was not a great performance. Bang, he can only collect his items, and FLICKR's expression has not changed all night. He has only had one expression, and you know that behind the still face of the best player that ever played League of Legends is only rage.
That I feel like it has soured just a little bit, you know? You talk about the stone face, but I feel like I can begin to see it. And it's nothing but sadness and disappointment on the side of SKT. They brought it late in game 1, but game 2 was just unbelievable. And we're beginning to see a shift in Korea of SKT moving out of the spotlight, and teams like KING-ZONE and KSV taking the number 1 and 2 spots.
SK Telecom has been down before. Of course, they went on a losing streak in summer. They were 7th going into IEM in 2016 spring, but it wasn't like this. They were not styled upon like they were in game 2 here. Oh boy. I don't know what more there is to say about KING-ZONE this game. Amazing performance by them, and largely by the laners. Galio got completely destroyed by Azir.
3,000 damage.
You know, he was doing his best, right? There was nothing he could do. It felt like he had to go into AP because other lanes were starting to struggle. It could have been a mistake also, hard to read. Top lane outplayed. Thal is a very talented mechanical player. He does well in solo queue, but Khan does it in the professional arena every single time. The bot lane also. 2,000 damage to champions by the Kalista, almost 0. You'd have to say somehow less damage than the Galio, of all things.
I'm getting chills, man. It's not just because it's cold in Korea. Just a complete stop.
This style of League of Legends shouldn't be possible on this patch. We don't need any more evidence for how long games can go. But this is the sort of birthday present I was looking for. It's not about who won. It's about how they won. It's the fact that you can draft a different style and then just obliterate people in the early game. It hasn't been shown in Korea. I believe this is our first game below 30 minutes. If it's not our first, it must be near there. But this is a true birthday present because KING-ZONE is showing there's one way everyone else plays, and when they get ahead, there's one way that only KING-ZONE can play.
I said it in the chat before the game started, almost as a joke. I was like, KING-ZONE 2-0ing SKT in some of the quickest games we've ever had. Well, it came true. The best birthday present for Papa, as you said. The way they won was very impressive and obviously very exciting. And so we are going to get into the MVP interviews here, guys, in just a moment. No doubt on any of our minds who the MVP from Game 2 was. But we'll be hearing from him once again, as well as the MVP from Game number 1.
Spare of thought for SK Telecom T1. They are 1-3 at the end of week 2.
Not a place that we've seen SKT many times before. A 1-3 SKT.
And you say, what are the good news stories for SKT? FLICKR, up till this series, very, very good. And this series, very well held by BDD, as he was in the final of Summer. Apart from that, there isn't many good news stories, Valdez. I don't really know who you say is second. Bang has had some good Ezreal games. Effort hasn't been exposed every game, but unfortunately got exposed here and in a couple of other times. Both top laners, neither of them are convincing. The junglers, they're trying Wolf in the jungle, lets you know that things aren't fantastic there either. So many different areas that SKT need to buff up, and even when they're strongest, even where they're strongest, I should say, even that hasn't been working for them.
It's going to get to the point where I hope KING-ZONE get even more confident and they try this kind of stuff against, you know, KT and KSV. Once again, we already saw the matchup between KSV and KZ, our first matchup we saw.
But now you're sitting there being like, if we could have seen it with Khan, if we could have seen it later in the first round robin, we won't see it until the second round robin. Feels like being robbed of what could be the biggest contrast of styles. KSV is the ultimate shield. They are the best defensive team in the league, the best team at taking a lead and just slowly grinding it out. KING-ZONE are the best team at just taking a lead and obliterating you with it. So seeing the different contrasting styles would have been a complete pleasure. Took a little bit of time for the players to get into the MVP, but it didn't take any time for them to choose the MVP. They didn't need to ask us. They already knew. This man, again, picks up the MVP. 3 out of 4 times he's played on the stage here, he has picked up the MVP. Unbelievable.
Yep. At the top it says, oh, LOL is fun. Yeah, it's really fun when you're crushing your opponent and going 1v2. I'd have to agree with you, Khan. I can't wait to hear what he has to say in the MVP interview.
Really?
I hope we get some more quotable stuff, Papa Smithy. No doubt we will. But guys, it is time. Our announcer, Suyun, is going to bring us into this MVP interview with caster Sung, and Gorilla and Khan.
자, 오늘의 최고의 선수 2명의 선수와 이야기를 나눠보겠습니다. 칸과 고릴라 선수입니다. 예.
Congratulations.
반갑습니다. 오늘 경기 굉장히 멋진 장면들이 많았습니다. 특히 칸은 지난번에 경기에서 또 만났는데
It's been a while to have an interview with you, Gorilla.
다 끊어주는 장면. 이런 장면 굉장히 인상 깊었었는데 본인이 하면서도 약간 소름 돋지 않았어요?
Are you satisfied with your play with Braum today? Well, actually, in the early and mid games, I got caught out quite a lot, so I was really sorry. But in the end, we got the victory, so I think I'm happy. And also, I would like to thank Prey for letting us play until the late games.
확실한 장면들이 좀 나왔었는데 SK 현재 어시스트 1위.
So you have the most assists among all SK players.
일단은 중반이 좀 지나고 있어요. 3,000
It's over
정도로
3,000
나오는데
assists.
어시스트를 많이 하게 되는 어떻게 보면
What is your trick?
능력도 이게 따로 있는 것 같아요.
이제 능력도 능력이지만
Well,
제가 오래
yeah, I have to say my mechanics are good, but I've been playing as a programmer in LCK for a long time, so that's how I got so many assists.
이어갔으면 좋겠어요.
네. 3,000 지금 34래요.
그래요?
네, 3,034. 의미 있는 숫자들이 점점
So
쌓이고 있는
hope you get more records from now on.
이번 스플릿 같은 경우는 일단은 새로운 얼굴들이 많이 좀 들어오고
So there are
있잖아요.
new
그
faces in
팀
your
내에서도.
squad, right?
피넛과도 이제 함께
And
좀
especially
생활을 하고
Peanut
있는데
is back to
어떻습니까,
you guys, Prey and Gorilla. How's the teamwork with him?
원래 같이 지냈었기 때문에
Well, I've been in a team with Peanut before, so I don't feel really a lot of things changes, but I think he has grown a lot compared to back to the days.
외국 갔다 와도 얼굴이 좀 변하고 느낌이 있잖아요.
네, 약간 좀 성숙해지면서 고생을 좀 많이 했는지 약간
I think he had some hard time from the last year, so I think that's how he became a little bit more like an adult.
그리고 뭐 칸은 야, 할 얘기가 엄청 많아요.
And we have a lot of things to talk with you, Khan.
이번에 브랜나루가 좀 지저분한 소리가
I think you got a new haircut, right?
내부에서도 피드백이 있더라고요.
Yeah, some of the players told me that my hair has
그러니까 그
got a little bit longer, so I went to a salon and got a haircut.
코디 팀도 고민이 많았다고 그러더라고요. 그런 날 어떻게 처리하는지에 대해서.
시원하게 밀어버렸어요.
So I just shaved it.
그거 말고도 그 이후에 경기에 관련된 팬들하고
Then moving on to in-game talks.
그 엔터키 뽑아버린 장면 있었잖아요.
아, 네.
So
그거 제가 듣기로 손으로 뽑아버려가지고 다시 띄우려도
I heard that you got rid of your enter key from your keyboard. Is that true?
나가버렸더라고요.
Yeah, I did, and it's kind of broken, so I can put it back in right now.
애초에 다 빼고 다녀요.
아 그래요?
So I just leave it with no enter keys. I just left it like that.
이런 얘기도 있어요.
아, 이거
Did it help you for getting more strategy? Yeah, I think it really helped me a lot.
스폰서를 기다리고 있다고 합니다. 키보드.
The Khan is waiting for a new keyboard, as he says.
경기를 많이 펼쳤잖아요. 두 선수 모두에게 좀 궁금한데 커즈가 평소에 굉장히 좀 재밌는 선수.
Speaking of Cuzz, we heard that he's a great joker in your team. He makes a lot of funny jokes, right?
주관이잖아요.
예.
어떤 상황에
Well, actually, like, I don't think his jokes are always funny, but sometimes, yeah, he makes some funny jokes.
얼마 전에 하평 입고 이겨 있더라고요. 참지 마요 친구 춥지 마요. 네.
아, 개인적으로 그거 듣고
What was your best line?
꽉지를 몇번 하긴
But
했는데
I kind of like none of it, so I just
사전적인
can't pick
의미를
one.
말씀해 주셨죠? 오늘 경기 사실 그 칸도 두 번째 경기에서 피오라가 이제 선택이
So you
됐는데
picked Fiora on the second game.
얼굴에 좀 묘한 감정이 좀 오고 갔었거든요.
Well, we could see a subtle facial impression on you. What kind of thoughts did you have?
이거는 이제 제가
Well,
그 작년 썸머
last year,
삼성한테 좀 안 좋은 기억이
I didn't play well on Fiora last year against Samsung, but this time I'm happy that we won the game today.
그때 팀 나머지 분위기는 어땠어요?
What are others
너무 동화들
teammates thinking?
동화가 힘이 드는 뱀픽이어서
Well, it was a tough game for Khan because there was so many top champions banned out. So I knew that he would have a lot of pressure, but I really want to thank him that he did such a great performance.
오늘 경기를 보면서 사실 그 예전의 롱주의 색깔과 지금 현재의 그 킹존 드래곤엑스의 색깔들이 조금씩 교차하는 경기들이 계속
A lot of your fans are saying that they can see the former Longju style from you guys.
연습과 같이 그 플레이 펼치는 또 신예급 선수도 있기 때문에 어떻게 보면은 그때 컬러 지금 컬러 또 많이 다를 것 같아요.
How do I want to compare them?
일단 뭐
Are they similar?
피넛 선수랑 커즈 선수랑 플레이 스타일이 조금 다르기는 하지만
Well, Peanut and Cuzz had different play styles, but throughout practices, and we have a lot of communications together, so
좋지 않다고 저는 생각을 하거든요. 그래서
I think we can try a lot of play styles and trying to get some more balance and main stability.
역시 주장은 다르구나. 고주장은 다르다는 생각이 좀 들었어요. 칸도 어떻게 보면 칸은 지금 평가 자체가 완전 끝을 찍고 있거든요.
I think Khan, you are like one of the best player in LCK.
궁금증에 대해서 제가 질문을
The
했어요.
global casters asked,
지금 현재 메타 자체가 사실 선수한테 너무 가혹하다.
I think the current meta is too harsh for the players because
끝나버리니까
you have to go through a really long game, but when you get caught out once in the late game, you just lose your whole
그
game.
스트레스를 어떤 식으로 관리하는지 어떻게 유지하는지
Don't you get really stressed out? So how do you manage all the mentality problems and how do you maintain the mental fortitude in the long games?
일단 저희 팀의 색깔을 보자면은 제가 좀
Our team play style is kind of like
선호하다 보니까
I prefer dealers on the top lane,
제 실수 한 번에 게임이 끝날
so I have to be really cautious in the late games.
그럴수록 아무래도 짊어진 게 있다 보니까
So I have a lot of pressure on it.
집중력을 잃지
So I have to make sure that I never lose my
되게 노력을
focus
많이 하고
in the late
있고
games.
연습 과정에서도 다 팀원들하고 말도 많이 맞추고 있기 때문에
Yeah, that's the main point. We're trying to get better during our practices.
좋은 답이 나올 거라고 생각해요.
일단 그 부분에 대해서 약간 즐기는 듯한 뉘앙스가 있거든요. 근데 왜 고릴라는 친구 웃던데 그 내용에서?
그러니까 일단
Why are you smiling right now? Well, in the late games, I have to say that we lose our mental fortitude a little bit.
그때 피넛 선수가 너무 콜을 잘해줘서
And today, our first game, we had a lot of hard times in the late games, but Peanut made some great shot calls, so I think it really helped us to keep focused during the game.
약간 장기전으로 가도 자신 있고
So we kind of gained confidence in the late games.
대기실에서 가장 말이 많은 팀 중에 한 팀이거든요. 킹존 드래곤스.
In KING-ZONE, you guys talk a lot before games, as I know.
얘기를 하면서 긴장을 푸는 그런
Well, those kind of communications helps us before the game.
시간이 엄청나게 올라갔습니다. 물론 처음에 약간 삐끗거리는 장면이 있었습니다만 칸의 느낌과 더불어서 이제 확실하게
Apparently, you guys are the top rankers in the LCK.
더 위로 올라갈 생각이 들 것 같아요. 이제
What is your goal for this split?
실력들도 좀 많이 봤잖아요. 두 선수가 생각하기에 지금 현재 상황에서
And which team
가장 경계되는
is
팀이나
the most
선수가 있다면
strongest
이건 어느 정도가 있을까요?
compared to others?
이건 칸이 향이 날것 같은데 고주장은 좀 아낄 것 같아요. 고주장은 좀 아낄
I would like to ask Khan,
이게 말을 살짝 잘못만 해도
but I have to be really careful
다른 팀 못한다는 게 아니라 그래도
경계되는 게임
to pick one.
팀들 다 잘하지만
I think all LCK teams are good, but I think KSB is really the strongest. So, but we are done with KSB for the first round. So I'd say no other teams are strong compared to us.
없다는데? 있어요?
But Gorilla personally thinks that Teddy from Junior is really doing his best performance. So I think we have to be really making a lot of practice before our Junior match.
최근에 테디가 MVP 포인트도 높고
Yeah, I have to say Teddy is one of the best AD carry in LCK right now.
하지만 테디가 경기력이 된다 이런 말씀까지 드렸습니다. 그래도 이제 그렇게
And then lastly,
칸의 그 이런 파괴를 좀 느꼈었고 일단 고주장도 느낌을 좀 팀의 분위기를 잘 만들어줬는데 오늘 진짜 춥거든요.
there are a lot of fans out here,
킹존 드래곤엑스를 응원하시는
but
분들의
today, it's really freezing cold out there. Is there anything you want to say to your fans?
이렇게 추운 날씨에도 저희 보러 와주신
Thank you for coming out
저희가 강남 1경기에서
thank you for visiting our arena,
다음에 또 뵙겠습니다.
even though this weather is really this cold, and also keep rooting for us.
이제 응원해 주러 오시고 이렇게 추운 날씨에도 응원해
Yeah, I would say thank you for all the support.
요새 게임 장기전으로 많이 가다 보니까
And we have a lot of late games these days, but thank you for staying here with us and rooting for us.
감사하고 언제나 좋은 모습 보여드릴 수
I'm gonna make sure to show better performance throughout the season. Thank you.
네, 고맙습니다. 지금까지 킹존
And this
드래곤엑스의
will be the end of
고주장
the
그리고
interview. Thank you for
규격의
listening.
칸 선수를 만나봤습니다.
Thank you, Ji-sun, for the translation. And we're going to take a look at some of the highlights here. Even with Cuzz trying his hardest.
It was
to
like, I'm
give
going to
Tahm-
flash away towards the... crap.
Yeah, trying to give him a hard time. Tahm was like, yeah, it's okay.
He gave Thal a free assist. Maybe that will be enough. He went for a invade into the enemy jungle. We're going to SKT start to this one. There's not much SKT to show after these two clips. Yeah, a couple of kills given over, and then Khan decided he wanted to win the game all on his own. Gave a health lead, went for a turret dive. Held his riposte at the end. Didn't need riposte when he could just keep running. Stopwatch from Blank. He tried to cover himself in gold, but it was fool's gold at Valdez. It wasn't real gold. It was Pyrite as he ran away with the game all alone.
Yeah, here he does it again. At this point, he's pretty fed. It's either the same level at this point, at least, but I think he's got an extra item on Thal. And Blank comes in, realizes, oh wait, yeah, it's Fiora. And I'm gonna run away now. Effort gets caught, which makes Blank get caught.
And sadly for Effort, this was the second time. He used the Fates Call about a minute and 20 seconds earlier. We're in the post-Fates Call being any good when it comes to low cooldowns world. So then Blank was caught, so unfortunately the rookie hurting the chances of Blank getting away, and then they just started killing people instantly.
Yeah, that was the end. We got a closer look at this 1v1 down in the bottom lane.
I mean, is it really a 1v1?
It's a turret and Thal versus Khan. Oh,
Two turrets.
Two turrets and the minions. But at that point, he was 2 levels up, ridiculously farmed, and 28 minutes is all it took KING-ZONE to win this match in very flashy fashion.
That means we're going to have a very long break, guys. 7:10 p.m. Korean Standard Time. So we will be resuming at 7:50. So 40 minutes of downtime. Probably about 35 minutes when we actually close the stream. But we should talk about this series. 51 minutes, that's the norm for this meta. 28 minutes was an obliteration by KING-ZONE DragonX. SKT so much in the lead. Honestly, in the lead for a greater percentage of this series in minutes probably than their enemy team. But after things went the way of KING-ZONE, the last 4 minutes from them, clinical in game 1, all 28 minutes for them, clinical in game 2. And that means they move up to 2-1. So just behind KSV, an equal game score with KT Rolster. For SK Telecom fans, it's not easy reading for you. 1-3, 9th place, all alone.
Just above MVP, who is sitting at 0-3. And who knows? MVP could win. They'd still be behind an indicator, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt this time. But yeah, Jin Air up at 4th place as well as the Rocks Tigers tied with KT and KING-ZONE right now. Just a small indicator point behind KSV. Obviously, the top team right now, really separating themselves from everyone else. We're going to take a look at the schedule after this.
Our second match of the night tonight, as we said, in about 35 minutes after the broadcast goes to break with KT Rolster against the BBQ Olivers, who started promisingly but did lose in their last series. So we'll see how that one goes. Great matchups for the rest of the week. We'll round them up later, though. But that's SK Telecom T1 done for week 2. 2 appearances, 2 losses, a heartbreaker in the Telecom war. And you couldn't call it a heartbreaker today. Much more decisive on the side of KING-ZONE, especially in game 2.
The heart's already broken. They're trying to crush it right now. But either way, guys, it looks like we are going to go to that commercial break very shortly. It is going to be, obviously, about 40 minutes, so not too long. I mean, we've had, like, hour-long breaks, 50-minute breaks. We have some time for Papa to relax on his birthday, which is pretty nice.
I'm looking forward to it. Who knows? Maybe we'll have another 2-0. And your prediction of us actually getting out of the studio before midnight, which is a new thing for us, might come true. Who knows?
Yeah, I would have to think so. KT looking pretty good against BBQ. But either way, guys, we're going to go to that commercial break. We'll be back in about 40 minutes. We'll see you then.
KT 롤스터 BBQ 올리버스의 경기로 다시 찾아뵙겠습니다. 함께해 주신 여러분 고맙습니다.